President of SIRC, Shri Bhatji, Bangalore Chapter President Shri B.K. Raghavendra ji, SIRC Treasurer Shri K. Gomti Shankar ji, SIRC Secretary Shri Santosh ji Kalburgi ji, Shri Girish Kambadraya ji, and my fellow guest of honor, Padmakar Kulkarni ji. I am intentionally taking the name of the youngest on the dais, Shri G.N. Venkatraman ji. And these are all the dignitaries on the dais and all the dignitaries in the audience. Namaskar to all of you. Good morning. To start with, when Vishwanath Bhatji came to me to invite to this function, yes, he had mentioned the conversation we had. To start with, let me first share about the impression I got with Institute of Cost Accountants of India, SIRC and Bangalore chapter. I reached here around, usually wherever I go, I reach 10-15 minutes in advance so that I don't go prepared for a speech. I told Mr. Ganpati Bhatt also the other day when he came to invite me, I'll be an extempore because I want to speak something which is relevant, which I can connect with the audience. So he said more than what he told me. When I came here a little early, maybe Bangalore standards, I'm telling it early, otherwise I was in time. I was not on time. Later on, I decided I came very, very early. The function was to start at 10, so I reached around 9:45 or so, thinking that 15 minutes I will chit-chat with understanding the Indian cost accountants and CMAs, and because I knew the CWAs, cost and work accountants. I didn't know this cost and management accountants. So I thought I will reintroduce myself to these CMAs. I spent quite a good time, and I really feel indebted to uh, Venkatramanji with his. I was telling him, in fact, in a later way, that you are older than the concept of cost accountant itself. He was telling immediately after the World War II, they came up with this cost accountancy so that they know what when they were purchasing defense equipment, they should know what they are spending on when they are purchasing. So that's how in 1944 it came, and 1959 he said the parliamentary there was an act, and that's how even in 1960 this Bangalore chapter came into existence. I was really impressed with him because I was just wondering what keeps him happy. He shared that he has acted in 5-6 movies. He has produced 2 movies. He was with PSU, Mysore Paper Mill, BML, and finally I was just thinking it cannot keep him so happy and active at 85. Then he said he acted with Khushbu. I said, okay, this is the reason why you are so active even after 85 years. Why I wanted to start my speech with a little humor is uh, just adjacent to me, Bangalore chapter president, chairman you call or president? Oh. I prefer president because there are women here also. When they become a president, I cannot call them chairman. So chairperson, so better president is better word. He mentioned that there are 250. I asked him who are all in the gathering. He said it's all CMAs and students who are pursuing cost accountancy. Maybe some 10 or so percent representative from industry. So basically, it's CMAs gathering. So uh, I just he said ki maybe I was not asking him ki why the auditorium is not so full or so he himself told me ki sir uh, because of the weather the participation is less, otherwise they've paid 1000 rupees registration fees, 250 registrations are there, but the turnout is little less, or maybe they will go on joining because of the weather. I thought ki if the weather is making us dull and participation is going down, so starting with little fun and humor will always uh, energize and reactivate, rejuvenate the audience. In fact, when I saw the my Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Vinayak Hegde, I think he somehow knows your SIRC President, Vishwanath Bhatt. He shared me one this today's events brochure on soft copy of the brochure on WhatsApp. He said, sir, they're in fact searching for somebody to speak on the occasion. Will you be going? I belong to that old era. I don't know. All of you speak Kannada here? All of you? Most of them. There was an Anna Krishnaraya, Anna Kru. He was a big novelist and a big, very well-known writer here. So I am told there was an anecdote about him. He will see the newspaper. There may be events where the organizer may not have come to invite him to speak, but if his name is mentioned in the newspaper, for example, nowadays nobody, I think, physical paper, hard copy, nobody is reading. But those times was like news is through newspaper only. If he sees in the news, Anna Krishna Rai is the main speaker, and he didn't even know the organizer who they are. Because it is mentioned, he will go and speak. So somehow I was not put to that. Initially I was shared and then said, are you interested in going and speaking? I said, okay, anyway, it's a weekend. I'm not going anywhere. If somebody comes, let me. Then I saw in the brochure, inaugural session, inaugural address, Commissioner, GST Department, and rest all on income tax, Gururaj, I think Kamlakarji is speaking, or Gururaj Acharya is speaking. Gururaj is speaking. On audit and assessment, Kamlakarji is speaking. On litigation, Shivdasji is speaking. Jatin Christopher is joining you in speaking on audit. And so I said, then why not? Who is speaking from GST department? It was mentioned Commissioner GST department. It reminded me of Satyanarayan Puja. When you do Satyanarayan Puja, how many of you are aware of the Satyanarayan Puja? Almost all of them. He comes up with Satyanarayan photo, he will come with what to be prepared for prasadam, everything is so particular. Okay? But before doing Satyanarayan Puja, like when we had this invocation, Lambodharane, Ganapati, Ganagalavadene. So Ganapati Puja is must. You ask him what will you do for Ganapati, he will say, you have coconut at home? Fine. If you say no, you have supari, adike. Fine, I can manage with that. Okay, even that is not there. Some fistful of soil, that is there. Okay, I will manage with that. So I thought this Commissioner GST department, okay, if Kotraswamy comes, okay. If somebody else comes, okay. But for Satyanarayana Puja, Satyanarayana photo is must. So he had Arvi's photo, Prasada, that book, everything. Only Ganpati can be Supari also. It can be, even if nothing is there, cow dung will do. So finally he decided upon a veterinary doctor who was sitting in GST department. Chalo, this cow dung can speak something on inaugural address. So that is how I ended up here. Otherwise, I was not destined to come and address all of you. Chalo, now you have got into active mode, overcoming the Bangalore's pleasant weather. I must appreciate cost accountants. There are some culture, ethics which an organization builds up. When I was working in Coorg, I had seen this. Whenever there is invocation, there is a prayer to begin this one, the audience also will get up. Because we show the same respect to national anthem, like today we played Nadagite also. We stand up for that, but whenever prayers were recited, the audience would be seated, the dignitaries would be seated. I must appreciate Cost Accountants Institute that when invocation started, all of them got up and all the audience got up. So that shows the culture, a tradition which a institute builds and it internalizes it. So I compliment the Cost Accountants Institute to building in such it's a very minute thing, but it speaks a lot about the organizational ethics of a particular organization. Coming to the main issue of GST Day celebration, Ganpati Bhatt has already clearly mentioned that it's not the officers who should celebrate it because I am not paying any GST. It's the consumer, and aptly so because it's a consumer-based tax. It's a consumption tax, and that answers the issues are uh, uh, disputes, or I may say the harsh, he himself admitted it. I don't say that because we are used to reading it and listening to that tax terrorism, which Mr. Girish Kambhadraji raised. And I'm happy before I could even answer it or I could defend myself or tell my point of view. Ganpati Bhatji rather he acted as a shield. He came to my rescue, and he has answered his question already, or the issue which he has raised. I completely understand, even if it's a bakery owner or a small business, I completely understand government has come up with so many checks and balances that none of the tax officers are per se harassing, especially the small taxpayers. So there are checks and balances, no doubt. At the same time, what I wanted to, apart from what Ganpati Bhatji has also already answered him, I just wanted to add these few more lines. Like I said, GST is a consumption-based tax. Even if he's a small businessman, it's one of the, in fact, one of the every year I think Deloitte is coming up with this GST survey. This year also, after 8 years, they have come up with one survey, including the MSMEs. The satisfaction level after, I think they conducted survey amongst around 963 uh, units or GSTNs, covering around 8 sectors. Even MSMEs, which was like almost 29% of the part of the survey, they said the satisfaction level is 82%. Why? The major reason is one, whatever it is, automation, compliance, or simplification, or to some extent, lot of working capital availability because of GST. That seamless credit, what we are getting, because whether you purchase it from Lucknow or Ahmedabad or Silchar or Guwahati or wherever it is, the credit flow is seamless across the country. So when the and one important point which came out of this survey is that business is thinking that there is no cost involved in the GST. This is one of the factors. Why they said there is no cost involved in the GST? Because it is not per se I am paying the GST. It is the consumer who is paying the GST. If he has, like he was, in fact, he raised the concern that if I go on slapping the tax notices to smaller businesses, certainly maybe they will go back to cash, and it's not that his choice. When he wants to get paid, it is the consumer who chooses to pay, either by card or UPI or by cash or whatever it is. Once it is accounted for, there is no business for any such business, whether it's a small, medium, or micro, or big, large, whatever it is. There is no business to it's when he sells a particular good, he has already charged GST in it. If he has not charged it, there is a come GST in it. So I don't see any problem with the taxpayer per se when he has collected it from the consumer, or he has factored in that cost in the goods which he is selling. It is not that, it's not like direct tax, or it is not like income tax. I pay it from my pocket, right? So I don't think the concerns are really concerned. It will be taken care of. And like already Vishwanath ji has mentioned, even if I am raising a tax demand for a bigger rate, a larger rate, and a bigger amount, at the stage of adjudication, appellate, it's not that I slap the notice and that's the end of the matter. We have processes, we have adjudication proceedings, you have all the right to appeal against it. Yes, I agree, the burden of compliance may be little more, but yes, that is how taxation is, and it will go on. Already, whether it is Venkatramanji or all the speakers before me, they have already mentioned about what GST was and how it came into and where we are now. Like uh, he was mentioning that Raghavendra was mentioning that June collection is 1.85 lakh crores. Yes, but May we collected 2.36 lakh crore, and April we collected 2.36, and May we collected 2.01. The first quarter, if you can say, take the average, it comes to 2.07 lakh crores. And The average of 17-18 from July to March was around 89,000 crores. So now it has more than the double. So that shows the maybe the real advantages. And one very contributing factor for this, whether it is automation, a big lift on automation, I agree. That is where tax practitioners like you, cost accountants and CMAs or CAs, or I will say accountants, accounting fraternity, your role comes to. Your role, it's not, I may be, I am just a third umpire as a GST officer or as a commissioner or whatever, in whatever capacity, we are just third umpires. It is the taxpayer who is paying the tax. We are nowhere intervening. It's not like central excise days when we had physical control. We stand at the factory gate, we issue gate passes. No such thing. It's you are going to do some business and you are going to pay it to the government's kitty. And if there is anything, if there is a foul play, the rules of the game is not followed, only then I come into picture. And there where you have the real role. If you ask me, you are the tax planner. If you ask me, you have a threefold role. You are the tax planner. You are their automation advisor also, because especially small and medium MSME sector, you are their automation advisor also, because I don't think they will be the digital infrastructure with them, or maybe the awareness, digital literacy, I may say, is how far it is with those small and medium enterprises. I'm not aware. So that is where your role as tech advisor also, automation advisor also comes into picture. And above all, you are the real compliance manager. It's not I, it's not my officers. There are 43,000 in my commissionerate alone, Bangalore North Commissionerate. We have around close to 43 to 45,000 taxpayers, and I cannot keep eye on all of them. You are the, and I cannot ensure compliance from all of them. Only when there are some red flags, only when my internal AI throws up some discrepancies, I may intervene. But the real detection, the real compliance is left to the tax advisors like you all, fraternity. So that is the reason I always, in fact, to be in a very lighter vein in North India, most of the time, why I asked how many of you speak Kannada is because after my joining into service, almost 17 years, I have worked out of Karnataka. I didn't, so I feel very happy speaking Kannada when I meet Kannada fraternity. In North India, one of my batchmate, whose in-laws, brother-in-law, everybody is lawyers. So he used to tell one joke about the lawyers. He used to say, दिल्ली में वैसे भी लड़ाई झगड़ा तो खूब होते रहते हैं, कुछ भी हो जाए, पार्किंग नहीं मिल रहा है, झगड़ा थप्पड़, हाथापैया, हाथापैया is fist fight, physical fight, or maybe the person is honking a little more, or he's not honking at all. He's, for whatever reason, they will get into a fight. So he was telling कि there were two people who were fighting, fighting in the sense there was just a verbal altercation. वो कुछ बोल रहा था, ये कुछ बोल रहा था. He was telling something, he was telling something. And when a lawyer came, then they finally caught hold of the collars, each other's collars, and then the fist fight, and then the real hatapaya began. What he wanted to say is, without the taxpayer, without the lawyer,